Hello, my name is Kelly Rupert, and this is a presentation on the acting out cycle. My research came from Dr. Geoff Colvin's presentation, along with research from the Iris Center. Dr. Geoff Colvin defines the cycle in phases, beginning with the calm phase, leading to the trigger phase, to agitation, to acceleration, to the peak behavior, and after that there is the de-escalation phase and the recovery phase. The acting out cycle occurs because behaviors typically go unnoticed. These are behaviors that take place during the trigger and agitation phases. They include tiredness, hunger, arguments at home, problems with classmates, frustration with academic material, or schedule changes. When these behaviors go unnoticed, they lead to peak behaviors, such as swearing, leaving the seat and even the classroom, and destroying property. Here is an example of acting out behavior that can occur in a classroom. Students are working on independent math work. They are expected to complete problems that were assigned in the previous class. One student, Michael, is sitting slouched in his seat, feet stretched out, head down, staring at the floor and looking very serious. The teacher says, "Michael, it is time to get started with your math." "What math?" "The math you didn't finish this morning." "I did finish it." "Well, let me see your work, please." Michael leans back in his seat. "Good. You have done 4 problems, but you need to do 10. "When did we have to do 10? "I announced it at the beginning of class yesterday." "I don't remember that." "Michael, look at the board. See under assignment 1 through 10. "Well, that's the first time I've seen it." "Look, Michael, this has gone far enough. You need to finish the rest of your assignment, so please get on with it." "No way, I'm done." "Okay, here is your choice. Do the math now or you will do it in detention." "F you. Now that's verbal abuse, and I will do an office referral." Michael throws his book across the room. "All right, to the office." Michael swings his arm in the direction of the teacher and bumps her arm. The teacher has to follow emergency procedures and call for help, which results in the student being escorted to the office. This is an example that Dr. Geoff Colvin provided in his presentation. The acting out cycle happens when a comprehensive classroom management plan is not effective for the student. The student may also have stress in their personal life, be an at-risk student, or have a certain disability. Then the trigger occurs. The teacher does not notice the problem or concern, or does not address the situation in an effective way, which leads to agitation. Phase 1 is the calm phase. This is a time where there is structure in the classroom based on a comprehensive management plan. Social and behavioral expectations have been taught and the students have learned them. Appropriate attention is given that allows students to meet the expectations of the class. Those include contingent attention, which are things like compliments and praise, and non-contingent attention, which is conversation on a personal level and building a personal relationship with the student. Of course, the goal is to keep all students at this phase. If a student does not stay at this phase, they enter the trigger phase. As mentioned before, triggers can be things that occur at home, such as tiredness or hunger. There may be abuse in the home of the child or even between the parents and other family members. Or the child may have just been in an argument before coming to school that day. Also, triggers may occur at school. The child may be frustrated with an academic activity or have a problem with a peer or a teacher. Or there could be a sudden change in the schedule or routine. During this phase, strategies are sort of things that are pre-taught to the child. They include teaching them problem-solving techniques and making individualized plans with the student. Also, if you notice that the child seems frustrated, clarify the expectations to the student. If these strategies do not work or are not in place, the child enters the agitation phase. They either have an increase in behavior, such as eye darting, change in language, fidgeting, and other off-task behaviors, or there is a decrease in behavior. The child may stare off into space and seem like they are daydreaming. They may be very quiet and withdrawn from others. During this phase, the goal is to interrupt the cycle. Know that the strategies must be done very early on in this phase, or these attempts may actually set the child off more. During this time, acknowledge the struggle to the student and offer help. Suggest that they try working with a partner, or move seats, or take a break. You would want to disguise the break as a trip to the water fountain or delivering a note to an office. If you notice that more than one student seems to be struggling with the material or seems frustrated, it might be a cue to change the instruction. If strategies are not effective at this phase or unnoticed behaviors, acceleration phase occurs. The child will then do actions to get attention from the teacher and or to interrupt instruction. This is typically the first time that a teacher notices a problem. So at this time, the student may do things such as questioning and arguing. There may be defiance. They may provoke and antagonize others or disrupt the lesson. They may also try to avoid the activity or make threats. At this time, it is very important to use a calm, respectful voice. Avoid sarcasm or debate. Just redirect the student or make a request to complete the work. Maybe just suggest a few problems instead of all of them. Walk away and give the child space. When you come back to check on the work, if some work is done or seems rushed, accept it and compliment the attempt. If the work is completed and done well, compliment the student on that and suggest that additional problems be tried. If strategies are not effective in this phase, that is when the peak behaviors occur. The student becomes out of control. He or she may destroy property. There may be verbal and or physical abuse. The child may get so worked up that they hyperventilate, scream, and even run out of the classroom. The student may think that he or she can avoid the work. It is very important to know and follow the school's protocol or crisis plan. Also have a class plan in place that focuses on the safety of all students and yourself. After the peak behavior occurs, the child enters the de-escalation phase. The student's behaviors may be positive. He or she may be apologetic, follow directions, and participate. Or the behavior could be negative. He or she may deny the behavior or blame others. They may also avoid or withdraw from the class. All students in the de-escalation phase may have some confusion and or tiredness. During this time, students are typically receptive to directions, so give the child an independent activity in a separate space. Manipulatives and hand-on activities are very helpful. The idea is also to take the attention of the class away from the student and redirect the attention to the work that was being done when this behavior occurred. After the de-escalation phase, the child enters the recovery phase. The student may be willing to do independent work, but may be reserved in group or class work. Also, the student may be defensive or want to avoid discussing the situation. However, it is very important that the student talks with the teacher one-on-one at some point to address the behavior. The student cannot think that that behavior is acceptable and that he or she can avoid the work. It is important to ask the student what happened and come up with a plan for the future. Use some of the strategies that had been mentioned in the earlier phases of the acting out cycle. Also talk with the class. If a mistake was made as the teacher, own up to it. Meaning, if you felt you said something that was sort of out of line due to frustration, apologize for it. If you feel that you did something that might have set the child off, again, apologize for it and address it. Also, if the student that had the acting out behavior is not in the room, talk with the class and ask the class to support the student's return. Overall, preventative strategies can be done. Classroom structure is one area that is very important. Classroom structure includes everything from the arrangement of seats and the student's proximity to possibly the front of the room. It could include who the student is sitting next to. It also includes having very clear expectations for the class. Quality instruction is also a preventative strategy. If the student is given challenging but doable assignments, they will be able to do the work and not feel frustrated. Also, engagement of students is very important. It will help avoid off-task behaviors. Another preventative strategy is providing appropriate attention to your students. Again, that includes giving them praise and compliments for their work and behavior, and it also includes having a personal relationship with the student. Get to know that child. If the behavior continues and a comprehensive classroom management plan has not worked for the child, give an ultimatum of the expected behavior or negative consequence. Allow the student to have some think time and check on other students. If the student does the expected behavior, of course, praise the child. And if they have chosen the negative consequence, then it is very important that you follow through and administer that consequence. Over time, track results of the student's behavior to determine what progress has been made and to reconsider strategies. Thank you for listening to this presentation on the acting out cycle.